Have you ever found yourself just wishing you could handle life a bit? Well, a bit smarter. I don't just mean book smarts.
Right, not academic stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
More like that uh, practical savvy, the kind that helps you get around problems, ignore nasty comments, grab opportunities.
And just feel happier, more in control.
Yeah, more focused maybe.
Yeah.
Less thrown off course.
It's definitely more than just IQ, isn't it? It's like this applied intelligence, being able to cut through the noise and make choices that actually work for you.
We get caught up sometimes, don't we? Feeling small because of what others think or missing obvious solutions.
hmm And that's really what this deep dive is about, how we can sharpen that practical side.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to unpack some really concrete ideas from a YouTube video by Webfen Gay. It's called Kaktro Nenthong Minkin Yim Tukto Kong Litud.
Which translates roughly to how to be intelligent, real experience, no theory. So very practical.
Exactly. No abstract stuff, just things you can actually do.
Okay, but before we jump into the tips, maybe we should nail down what we mean by intelligent here.
Good point. The video uses the Cambridge Dictionary definition, the ability to learn, to understand, and make judgments or have opinions that are based on reason.
Right. So for this discussion, it's kind of like mastering our own thinking, making fewer mistakes, acting with more clarity.
And getting better, upgrading our knowledge as we go, leading to a better life, essentially.
And crucially, the video argues this isn't something you're just born with.
No, that's the empowering part. It suggests this kind of practical wisdom, this intelligence can be grown, like a skill.
You can actually develop it, which is a pretty hopeful message, I think.
It really is. Now, the original source has 6 of these experiences,
Mm-hmm.
but today we're just focusing on the first 3.
Okay.
But honestly, even these 3 are incredibly powerful. They give you a lot to think about and work with.
All right, let's get into it. What's the first one?
Okay, the first experience is a real mind shift. Don't just listen with your ears. Listen with your eyes. And, importantly, do it many times.
Listen with your eyes. Okay, unpack that a bit.
Well, the idea is it has this double benefit. It helps your emotional intelligence, makes you less likely to feel, unreasonably inferior.
Oh, okay.
And it boosts your logical intelligence because you make fewer bad decisions based on faulty info.
Interesting. So it tackles both feelings and logic. And it sounds simple.
It is, conceptually.
Oh.
But it goes against our instincts sometimes. You know how we hear something and immediately form an opinion or belief?
Oh, yeah. All the time. Jump to conclusions.
This is about pausing that, holding back judgment until you have real, visual, repeated evidence.
Okay, give me an example.
The video uses this great analogy of an English class. Imagine it's your first day, you're new. You sit between, say, a bank expert and a logistics manager.
Right. Seemingly confident people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they both say, really humbly, oh, my English is just intermediate.
Okay. And your first reaction might be,
Panic. Like, oh no, I'm in the wrong class. These guys are experts saying they're intermediate. I must be terrible. You feel instantly inadequate.
right, that self-deprecating thing kicks in based just on what they said.
Precisely. And the video says that emotional reaction, based purely on hearsay, isn't a very intelligent response in this context. You're reacting to unverified data.
So listening with your eyes means,
You actually observe them in class for, say, a month. You see their actual English skills in action repeatedly.
I see. You gather the visual data.
Yeah. And you might find out their intermediate is actually pretty average. Maybe not much better than yours.
And then that initial feeling of being inferior just evaporates. It was based on nothing real.
Exactly. You saved yourself all that worry and negative self-talk by waiting for the visual proof.
That makes a lot of sense. And it applies way beyond language classes, I imagine.
Oh, totally. Think about social media profiles. Everyone's got these amazing titles, curated lives.
Or CVs. People embellish, right? Listening with ears is like reading the CV.
But listening with eyes is like the practical test a hiring manager gives. They need to see you do the job, not just hear you talk about it.
They need repeated proof before they commit.
So the key thing for you, the listener, is this. If you haven't seen something confirmed multiple times, treat it like a hypothesis, just an idea.
Don't automatically believe it, but don't automatically reject it either.
Right. Just hold it lightly. Wait for observation to confirm or deny it. It acts like a filter.
Filters out the noise, the unreliable stuff. Leads to more peace of mind, maybe.
Definitely. And makes you much sharper when you actually need to make a decision based on facts. You build this mental defense against nonsense, really.
Okay, that's a strong first principle. Listening with your eyes. What comes next?
Right. So if the first tip is about filtering input, The second is about dealing with output specifically, criticism. The principle is only the results can criticize.
Ooh, I like the sound of that. Result talks.
Yeah, the video creator says it's like a core philosophy for them. Think about it. Anytime you try to do anything significant, what happens?
You get opinions. Lots of them. From everyone.
Exactly. Friends, family, strangers telling you you're doing it wrong or differently, or it's endless. So who do you listen to?
It can be overwhelming, paralyzing even.
Well, this principle cuts right through that. It says, first, be crystal clear about your goal. What does success look like?
Okay, define the objective.
Then you only pay attention to the actual outcome. Did you achieve the goal? If yes, you're doing okay, keep going.
And if no, if the results are bad.
That's the criticism. The only criticism you need to heed. The negative result tells you something needs to change. Everything else is just noise.
That's incredibly freeing, actually.
Isn't it? The video uses a student example. Maybe you're studying hard for an exam.
And people say, you study too much, or
Yeah.
you're not studying the right way, or you never relax.
Right. All that conflicting advice. This principle says, define your goal. Say getting an A. Focus on achieving that. If you get the A, ignore all the criticism about how you did it.
Even with family, just tell them trust the process, wait for the grade.
Pretty much. Promise them results. But, and this is key, if you don't get the A, if the result is poor.
Then the result itself is criticizing your method.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's the signal. Time to rethink your approach. Not because Aunt Carol said so, but because the outcome wasn't what you aimed for.
Okay, that clarifies things. It's very objective.
And think about the Facebook example they give. Go look at App Store reviews for Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Tons of one-star ratings, angry comments.
Loads of criticism, right?
Yeah.
But is Facebook changing everything based on those comments?
Doesn't seem like it. They're still massive, still growing.
Because they're looking at their results. Monthly active users, up. Time spent on app, up. Ad revenue, up.
Ah, so those results align with their business goals. The individual complaints aren't the results they're primarily tracking for success.
Exactly. The satisfied users might not write reviews, but they speak by staying on the platform, clicking ads. Facebook listens to those results.
Okay, that makes sense. But are there any, warnings with this? Could you misuse this idea?
Yes, and the video adds two really important notes, crucial caveats. First, if you're trying something new, something you're unsure about,
Don't just bet the farm on it.
right, start small scale. Test it out. See if you get positive results on a small level first. That validates the path before you go big.
Sensible, like a pilot program. What's the second note?
Assign a time frame. Don't just keep doing something indefinitely hoping the results will eventually turn good.
Ah, set a deadline for the result to show up.
Exactly. Maybe it's 1 month for that student study method, maybe 6 or 8 months for a new business plan. If you don't see the desired results within that time.
Then the lack of results is the criticism.
Yes. And you have to adapt. You can't just stubbornly stick with it because you believe in it. The time frame forces an evaluation based on outcomes.
Okay, those are really important nuances. Start small, set a time limit.
Yeah. It stops the results-only idea from becoming reckless. Overall, this approach helps you cut out distractions, reduces stress,
Less trying to please everyone.
and keeps your focus totally on hitting your target. Very goal-centric.
Okay, powerful stuff. Listening with eyes, letting results be the judge. What's the third experience?
The third one tackles how we form judgments, especially when we might only be seeing part of the story. It's called overviewing.
Overviewing, so seeing the bigger picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It addresses this basic human thing where our eyes see something, but our mind might only grasp a small piece of it.
Yeah, we focus on one detail and miss the rest.
And that leads to skewed judgments, bad conclusions. Overviewing is about training yourself to step back and see the whole thing.
How does the video illustrate this one?
With a really vivid personal story, the creator is walking with a friend through a rich neighborhood late at night, maybe 11 p.m.,
Okay.
and they hear really loud karaoke coming from one house. Just one.
Uh-oh. Not great late at night.
Right. And the friend immediately says something like, see, these rich people have no class, so inconsiderate singing this late.
Jumping to a conclusion about the whole neighborhood based on one incident.
Precisely. And this is where overviewing kicks in. The creator thinks, wait a minute, how many houses are actually in this neighborhood? Maybe 100, 200.
Okay.
And only one house is making noise. That means 99 or 199 other houses are probably quiet, civilized.
Right. The one loud house doesn't represent everyone. Focusing only on that gives a totally distorted picture.
It's like that classic black dot analogy they mentioned. You have a huge whiteboard with one tiny black dot on it.
Do you say the whole board is black?
Of course not. You see the tiny dot against the vast white background. But sometimes, with situations or people, we focus only on the black dot, the one flaw, the one mistake.
Like finding one typo in a book and calling the whole translation terrible.
Exactly. You failed to overview the hundreds of perfectly good pages because you got fixated on the single error.
So it's about perspective and proportion. How do we actually do this? Is there a technique?
Yes, a simple practical method. Before you jump to any conclusion about anything, consciously ask yourself this question. Is there something I'm not seeing here? Is there anything obvious I'm just, well, ignoring or not recognizing?
Huh. Just pausing to ask that.
Yeah. Maybe even give yourself, say, 10 minutes just to ponder that question. Let your mind scan for the bigger picture.
And you might realize, oh, wait, I was only looking at the negative part.
Exactly. You might think, why was I so quick to judge? I totally missed all the positive aspects here. The key is, only form a firm conclusion when you feel you really understand the whole situation.
And if you don't feel you grasp the whole thing yet.
Just let it float. Don't cement the belief. Keep it as provisional information until you have that wider view.
That sounds like it would prevent a lot of unfair judgments and probably a lot of misunderstandings, too.
For sure. It encourages a more accurate and balanced view of things, which ultimately is a much more intelligent way to operate, isn't it?
Absolutely. Leads to better decisions, better interactions.
Yeah, okay. So those are three pretty significant mental tools we've unpacked today.
Yeah, really practical stuff. Let's recap them quickly.
Good idea. First, listening with your eyes, not just your ears. Waiting for repeated visual proof before believing something, which helps emotionally and logically.
Calms down that knee-jerk reaction and filters bad info.
Second, only the results can criticize. Define your goal, focus on the outcome, and let that be your guide, ignoring subjective noise. But remember the caveats.
Right. Start small, set a time limit, very important, keeps you focused and grounded.
And third, overviewing. Actively seeking the bigger picture before forming a judgment, asking yourself, what am I missing?
To avoid those skewed perspectives based on incomplete information, like the karaoke house or the black dot.
Exactly. These three alone feel like they can make a huge difference in how you navigate things.
Definitely. They're not just theories, they're actual frameworks you can start using, like right now.
And the really cool thing is the original video actually has 3 more experiences.
Oh, really? More to come.
Yep. Equally interesting, apparently, so we'll definitely dive into those in a future session.
Looking forward to that. These first 3 are already a lot to chew on.
They really are. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening to consider this week.
Okay.
How might actually applying these 3 ideas, really observing actions, truly valuing results over opinions, always trying to see the whole picture, how might that change things for you?
Yeah, how could it shift your understanding of the world around you? Or your interactions with people?
Or even how you approach your own goals and ambitions?
Something to definitely mull over. Think about the clarity that could bring.